Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I recently helped decorate for a Stranger Things birthday party, and for that party I made these chip bags. So stay tuned while I show you guys how I made them from start to finish. So as always, to design these chip bags, I start with Canva. So you want to go to Canva and create a design. For this design, you want to create a custom size and you're going to change the pixels to inches. For the width, my page is going to be 11 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. That's the landscape size of a paper. And now I'm going to show you guys how to create the template. So to make a template, you want to go to Elements and type in Square, and you want to make sure you choose the square that's under Shapes. After you do that, you want to drag that square to the corner, and we're going to make sure that it's 11 inches wide by 0.08 inches tall. After we've made one, we're going to duplicate that and drag that to the bottom of our page. Then we're going to go back to Elements and select another square. For this square, I'm going to change the color so you guys can see the difference of it. This time we're going to add that square to the center, and we want to make sure that it fits from the bottom of that very top square to the top of that bottom square. You'll see it here. So once we have it centered, you want to readjust the size until it's 5.6 inches wide. After we're happy with that, we're going to drag it to the center to make sure that everything's good. So these are your final measurements. Go ahead and take a screenshot if you need to. Now that you have the basic template, you can start designing. You can use this template to make any design that you want, but like I said before, mine is Stranger Things. So I found this background picture on Pinterest. I went to Pinterest and I typed in Stranger Things background, and I found this one that I really liked. So I'm going to drag it to make sure it's the same size as that center rectangle. This is going to be the front of your chip bag. So whatever you put into the center rectangle is going to show on the front of your bag. I decided that I didn't want any borders on this chip bag, so I went ahead and deleted those. But like I said, you can leave them if you want. Now we're going to change the background color. So for the background color, I wanted it to be an ombre to match the vibe of the center of the chip bag. So I selected the background and I changed it from solid color to gradient. And I'm going to go ahead and add 5 different circles to represent the different colors that I need. So for the top and the bottom, I want both of those to be black. And then in between, I want it to be like a dark burgundy color at the top and then a dark teal color at the bottom. And then in the middle, I want it to be that yellow, just kind of like the sun going down looks like in the center of the chip bag. I love the way this looked, but I wanted to blend the size a little bit more. So I'm going to go to Elements and type in Blur, and I'm going to try to find a black blur that can blur out those sides a little bit. I found this rectangular blur that's perfect for those sides. So I went ahead and I elongated that and I added it on both sides. I'm also going to turn up the transparency just a little bit so it blends a little bit better. Now that we have our basic design of our chip bag, we can go ahead and add some more elements. So I'm going to start by adding the font. So I'm going to type in Happy 15th Birthday and then Fernando at the bottom, which is his name. And for the size of it, I wanted it to be relatively big. And as far as the font, I saw this ITC Binguiat, I think that's how you pronounce it, Binguiat condensed, and I thought that was the closest thing to Stranger Things. On the title card of the Stranger Things, it always has the first and the last letter bigger than the rest of the font. So I went ahead and did that with the 2 H's. I made them a little bit bigger than the rest of the font, and then I centered that birthday. So for the Fernando, I actually wanted to flip it upside down just so it could represent the upside down. After sizing the text, I'm going to go to Elements and type in line. I'm going to add a line to the top of the Happy 15th Birthday and below the Fernando. Make sure to choose a line that you're able to change the color on. After adding the lines, we're going to go ahead and change the color of the font. For the Happy 15th Birthday, I wanted it to be a similar maroon color to the little ombre that I did. And then for the Fernando, same thing there, I wanted it to be a teal as well. The Happy 15th Birthday is the same color as the background, and I wanted it to stand out more. So I'm going to go back to Elements and type in Blur, and I'm going to select that same blur that I selected earlier, and I'm going to add that to the background of my text so it stands out a little bit more. And the last thing I'm going to do is just add some clip art and images to it. So for all these clip art images that I found them on Pinterest. I just typed in Stranger Things clip art and I picked the ones that I liked the most. I always like to add a cute little happy birthday nutrition facts to mine. I bought this off of Etsy a few years back, but I'm sure you can find one on Pinterest, or even if you look on Elements, you can find like a blank one that you can customize yourself. So this is the finished chip bag design that I went with. Like I always say, you can customize it to your liking. You're making whatever you want to make, right? So after we're done, we're going to download it, and we're going to download it as a PDF, but to print. You want to flatten that PDF, that way it's going to print as one image. My printer uses the CMYK ink, so that's what I'm changing mine to, but if yours is regular RGB, you can keep it like that. I print my chip bags on this brochure paper here that I get on Amazon. This is the exact one that I use. I like it because it's not too thick, but it's also not too thin, and it leaves a perfect glossy image. Now we're going to assemble our chip bags. I know I've shown you guys how to do this time and time again, but for some reason I always change it up every time I do it. So for this tutorial, what I'm doing first is I'm flipping it over on the front, and I'm going to flip over those two side panels and go ahead and crease them down the sides. This is going to give me a better guide whenever I add the chip bag into it later. And as you can see, after creasing the sides, it gives you a perfect guide of where you're going to add your chip bags into it. So before we add our chips, we're going to take our paper crimper. This is the one that I use. I bought it on Amazon a few years back, but I'm sure you can find them at Walmart. I'm also going to have that link below. I'm going to take the chip bag and I'm going to place the paper inside of my crimper, and I'm going to crimp the very top, so about a half of an inch down. Once I've creased the top, I'm going to do the same thing and I'm going to crimp the very bottom of it. I like to crimp with the flaps facing up. That way I don't crush the bag whenever I'm crimping it. I said about a half an inch, but I actually crimp about a full inch. If I had a border, I would just crimp to the bottom of the border, but for this bag, I don't have one. Now we're gonna add our chip bags. So for the chip bags, you wanna make sure you're using 1 ounce bag of chips. Try not to use Cheeto Puffs or like any of the popcorn snacks. Even though they're 1 ounce, their bags are bigger. I like to go with hot Cheetos because I always know they're gonna fit, but if you get one of those variety chip bags, most of the time those chips will fit in there just fine. After adding the chips, I fold one of my flaps over and I do a small bead of hot glue down the center, and then I hold onto it until it cools down. Be very careful when you're doing this because it can be hot. After the back cools down, I'm going to do the same thing with the top and the bottom. I'm going to add a layer of glue to the bottom and just hold onto it till it cools down. Then I'm going to do the same thing at the top. I make sure not to add glue to the very edge of it because I'm going to use a crimper to, I'm going to use pinking shears to cut off the excess white, and I don't want to cut the glue off when I do that. After the hot glue is cooled down, you can stop here if you like. It still looks nice, but I like to take pinking shears and cut off that extra white. I feel like the pinking shears gives the chip bags a perforated look, and it makes them look more professional. And after you've done that, your chip bags are completed. I love the way these turned out. I ended up doing a few more decorative things for this party, and I made a few videos on my channel already, so check further down my page if you're interested in those. Also, let me know what other videos you guys want to see from me, whether it's sewing videos, more Cricut tutorials, or more party crafts. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye!